Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Google. Google disaster, $90 billion lost, total loss of trust. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from Breitbart, woke embarrassment, Google's botched Gemini AI launch erases $90 billion in stock value. Coming from Zero Hedge, I'm done with Google. Wholesale loss of trust after unbelievably irresponsible racist AI goes mask off. Coming from the Post-Millennial, quote, we got it wrong. Google's CEO says woke images created by Gemini AI of race-swapped historical figures completely unacceptable. And from Business Insider, Elon Musk is going to war with Google. Elon Musk wants Google's business. He's not going to be able to get all of their business, but he's going into competition with them on every level that he can. From Breitbart, woke embarrassment, Google's botched Gemini AI launch erases $90 billion in stock value. Google's market value plunged by $90 billion on Monday amid controversy surrounding its new generative AI service, Gemini. The ultra-woke AI became instantly famous for erasing white people from history, facing widespread mockery for not only its widely inaccurate images, but also defending inappropriate relationships with children and Joseph Stalin. Forbes reports that Alphabet stock fell 4.5% on Monday to close at $138.75, its lowest price since early January. Google stock right now is at $137.43, even a little bit lower. The sell-off came as the company grappled with backlash over accuracy and bias issues with its nascent generative AI service, Gemini. Now from Zero Hedge, I'm done with Google, wholesale loss of trust after unbelievably irresponsible racist AI goes mask off. The fact that Google's Gemini AI is a complete woke mess comes as no surprise to anyone who's been paying attention. Between Google's internal culture and the fact that large language models are largely a reflection of their creators, Gemini is and was the predictable digital poster child for racist, anti-white, anti-conservative, historical revisionist culture as opposed to the neutral purveyors of information they claim to be. Mask off, as they say. In fact, one of the people who says it best is Mario Jurek, director of the Dirac Institute at the University of Washington, Seattle. In a lengthy post on Twitter, Jurek says that despite knowing many good individuals working there, he's done with Google. Here's what Mario Jurek has to say. I've been reading Google's Gemini damage control posts. I think they're simply not telling the truth. For one, their text-only product has the same, if not worse, issues. And second, if you know a bit about how these models are built, you know you don't get these incorrect answers through one-off innocent mistakes. Gemini's outputs reflect many FTE years of labeling efforts, training, fine-tuning, prompt design, QA, and verification, all iteratively guided by the team who built it. You can also be certain that before releasing it, many people have tried the product internally, that many demos were given to senior product managers and vice presidents, that they all thought it was fine, and that they all ultimately signed off on the release. With that prior, the balance of probabilities is strongly against the outputs being an innocent bug. As Google publicity is now trying to spin it, Gemini is a product that functions exactly as designed and an accurate reflection of the values of the people who built it. Those values appear to include a desire to reshape the world in a specific way that is so strong that it allowed the people involved to rationalize to themselves that it's not just acceptable, but desirable to train their AI to prioritize ideology ahead of giving users the facts, to revise history, to obfuscate the present, and to outright hide information that doesn't align with the company's impression of what's good. I don't care if some of that ideology may or may not align with your or my thinking about what would make the world a better place. For anyone with a shred of awareness of human history, it should be clear how unbelievably irresponsible it is to build a system that aims to become an authoritative compendium of human knowledge, remember Google's mission statement, but which actually prioritizes ideology over facts. History is littered with many who have tried this sort of moral flexibility, quote, for the greater good. Rather than helping, they typically resulted in decades of setbacks and tens of millions of victims. And when he says victims, he means deaths, literally dead people. Setting social irresponsibility aside, in a purely business sense, it is beyond stupid to build a product which will explicitly put your company's social agenda before the company's needs. Think about it. Google's search, for all its issues, has been perceived as a good tool because it focused on providing accurate and useful information. Its mission was aligned with its users' goals. get me the correct answer for the stuff I need, and fast. That's why we all used it. I always assumed Google's AI efforts would follow the pattern, which would transfer over the user base and lock in another 1 to 2 decades of dominance. But they've done the opposite. After Gemini, rather than as a user-centric company, Google will be perceived as an activist organization first, ready to lie to the user to advance their social agenda. That's huge. Would you hire a personal assistant who openly has an unaligned agenda, who you fundamentally can't trust, who strongly believes they know better than you, who you suspect will covertly lie to you when your interests diverge? Forget the cookies, ads, privacy issues, or YouTube content moderation. Google has made 50% plus of the population run through this scenario and question the trustworthiness of its core business and the people running it. And not at the typical financial, they're fleecing me level, but the ideological level. They hate people like me. That'll be hard to reset, in my humble opinion. What about the future? Take a look at Google's AI responsibility principles and ask yourself, what would search look like if the staff who brought you Gemini was tasked to interpret them and rebuild it accordingly? Would you trust that product? Would you use it? Well, with Google's promise to include Gemini everywhere, that's what we'll be getting. In this brave new world, every time you run a search, you'll be asking yourself, did it tell me the truth or did it lie or hide something? That's lethal for a company built around organizing information. And that's why, as of this weekend, I've started divorcing my personal life and taking my information out of the Google ecosystem. It will probably take about a year, having invested in nearly everything from search to Pixel to Assistant to more obscure things like voice. But it has to be done. Still really, really sad. Meanwhile, Gavin Baker, managing partner, chief information officer at Atreides Management, channels the spice to point out that being apolitical or centrist is becoming a significant competitive advantage for companies. Gemini is the first time GPT-4 has been surpassed, yet the launch has been an unmitigated disaster, and the product will likely be pulled off the market because of the ideology that was built into it. When that ideology isn't deeply racist or ahistorical, it is simply absurd. Microaggressions are comparable to a thermonuclear explosion in terms of harm? Ironic that if Google had simply followed its mission statement of organizing the world's information to make it universally accessible and useful, they would have had a triumphant product launch. Instead, they will almost certainly have to pull the product in the same way Microsoft had to pull Tay long ago. Their PR focus thus far has been on image generation, but the text generation product is much worse in terms of racism and absurdity. Nothing about the ideology built into Gemini is useful. Gemini 1.5 Pro showed that Google has the technological capability to protect their search franchise. Only ideology is standing in the way of a long, slow, embarrassing decline. There is a real Bud Light risk here absent swift and decisive action. Elon Musk says, many days have passed since the debut of Google's insanely racist and sexist Gemini product debut, and yet not one person has been fired. Not one. And here's Google trying to clean up the mess, which is impossible to clean up. From the post-millennial, we got it wrong. Google CEO says woke images created by Gemini AI of race-swapped historical figures completely unacceptable. On Tuesday, Google CEO Sundar Pichai acknowledged the shortcomings of his company's highly criticized artificial intelligence app Gemini, namely its problematic responses to queries posited by users. In an email to employees of the tech giant obtained by Semaphore, he noted that since suspending Gemini's image creator feature last week, steps have been taken in an attempt to fix the issues. Quote, I want to address the recent issues with problematic text and image responses in the Gemini app, Pichai wrote. I know that some of its responses have offended our users and shown bias. To be clear, that's completely unacceptable and we got it wrong. Our teams have been working around the clock to address these issues, he continued. We're already seeing a substantial improvement on a wide range of prompts. No AI is perfect, especially at this emerging stage of the industry's development, but we know the bar is high for us and we will keep at it for however long it takes. And we'll review what happened and make sure we fix it at scale. As Elon Musk says, no one was fired, because the AI was doing exactly what they wanted it to do. Pichai told employees that even as we learn from what went wrong here, we should also build on the product and technical announcements we've made in AI over the last several weeks. Gemini has been criticized by users and competitors alike after the software began to create inaccurate images of white historical figures, depicting them as people of color, and providing woke answers to simple questions about biology and public figures. In one instance, Gemini failed to determine whether Germany's leader from World War II was worse than conservative journalist Chris Rufo, suggesting that while the former had a greater immediate impact on society, the latter's actions, meaning Chris Rufo, may have a longer lasting impact as they could lead to increased division and hatred in society. Gemini AI also failed to admit that an adult human female was a woman. Elon Musk sees blood on the water and he's going for it. He wants Google's business. From Business Insider, Elon Musk is going to war with Google. Elon Musk has a new obsession, Google. The billionaire has been posting about the big tech company on Twitter at a steady rate. Since the launch of Google's Gemini image generator, he's shared and replied to more than 100 posts about the company. Most of these are unsurprisingly critical. Last week, Google was forced to pause Gemini's image generating feature after a wave of backlash that accused it of being too woke. Users complained that Gemini generated historically inaccurate images of people of color and provided strange answers to some queries. Google DeepMind CEO, Demis Hassabis, said the company hoped to have the image generator online again in a couple of weeks. He added that the issues were down to a well-intended feature being applied too bluntly. In a post on Twitter, Musk claimed that a Google executive assured him the company was taking immediate action to fix the racial and gender bias in Gemini. Musk, a frequent critic of what he describes as woke policies, accused Google of running insane, racist, anti-civilization programming with its AI. The Tesla CEO also went all in on other aspects of Google's business, including its flagship search engine. Quote, Gemini is indeed just the tip of the iceberg. The same is being done with Google Search, the billionaire said in one reply. Musk also took a shot at the company's email service, Gmail, and appeared to suggest that a competing product called Xmail was coming. Unsatisfied with just going after Google's products, Musk also took a few shots at employees. In one reply to a user's post about big tech companies donating more to Democrats than Republicans in 2020, he said, almost like there's a pattern. Musk also singled out Gemini's product lead, Jack Krawczyk. Sharing a screenshot of one of Krawczyk's posts, Musk wrote, this nut is a big part of why Google's AI is so racist and sexist. To give Musk some credit, Google AI also appeared to be hard on him personally. Several reports and screenshots promoted by Musk showed that Gemini appeared unable to say that Musk was worse than Joseph Stalin or the leader of Germany from World War II. When Business Insider tested the prompt a few days later, Gemini said it was inaccurate and grossly inappropriate to compare Elon Musk to either historical figure. Musk has more than just his reputation at stake in this particular fight. After taking a similar issue with OpenAI's ChatGPT, Musk founded his own AI company and released Grok, a competing chatbot. He has also claimed he wants the bot to be funnier and less woke than its established rivals. Musk is certainly attempting to use the Gemini controversy to highlight advantages of having an AI like Grok. The billionaire has also been sharing memes that praise xAI's efforts as maximum truth-seeking compared with rivals. One post on the subject even managed to provoke a response by ChatGPT's Twitter account. The account for the bot responded to one post saying, "Chat, is this real?" Quote, perhaps it's now clear why xAI's Grok is so important, Musk said in a post. Quote, it is far from perfect right now, but will improve rapidly. Version 1.5 releases in 2 weeks. Rigorous pursuit of the truth without regard to criticism has never been more essential. The technology critics are absolutely right. There is no way this was a mistake. Google knew exactly what they were doing. The racist images generated by Gemini AI and inappropriate text responses are exactly what the people who made it wanted it to be. They're just so much inside their own bubble and so far outside of reality, they thought people would just accept it and they could use their AI as an ideological tool to change the world to be more like the way they wanted it to be, instead of just being useful, which is what their customers actually want. And now they're paying the price. Stock down $90 billion. This move with Gemini AI burns a bridge that can never be repaired. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.